What's up, everybody? I think I'm going to call this the Tie and Try series. We're going to tie a fly today, and then I'm going to take that fly, go catch a fish on it. I'm going to bring you guys along for the whole process. And I wanted to start the first one off with an absolute banger of a fly. This is going to be a Thrasher, which was created by Eric Hurst. It's one of my favorite streamers of all time to fish. So yeah, let's get into it. So for materials, I'm going to use any saddle feathers of your choice. This is optional, but I'll grab some thinner hackles, and you'll see we use those for a little accent feather in the tail. You can either use Senyo's Laser Dub, or I use the Bruiser Blend, Polar Chenille of your choice, some deer belly hair, silly legs, some lead or tungsten eyes, Berkeley Fireline 30-pound, I'm pretty sure. You can use beadline, you can use intruder wire, whatever you prefer to connect your hooks with. For my hook connection, I just use A-Dot craft beads. I'm running Semperfli classic wax thread. When I do the deer hair sections that we're going to have in there, I'm going to be doing Vivis GSP. I like the 100 denier. But that's about it. Other than that, let's get busy. I normally fish a 4 and a 2, but I'm going to tie a big one for you guys today. We're going to do a 2 and a 1. And if I didn't mention, Gamakatsu B10S, that's the hook. So get your hook thrown in the vise. You're going to start with your saddle feathers. Strip feathers off. Take your second one and match it up like this. Now, when you tie these in, you're actually going to tie them shiny side facing in. So you want these feathers, you see how if you tie them in like that, they're going to splay out and away from each other. And what that's going to do is it's going to get a lot more of a kick motion in the water as you're stripping it through. If you've never tied in saddle feathers before, they like to roll and they don't want to sit the way you like that. They don't want to sit the way you want them to. Go until you get it right. So there's our first one. There's the second one. So now if you guys look, they're going to V out away from each other. That's what you want. So once you get those tied in, go up a good little bit just to make sure that they're nice and locked in. And then you're going to move on to these guys. What I do with these is I just run them like that as an accent. Okay, so now you got your feathers tied in. Next thing you're going to jump to, one of my favorite materials ever, Polar Chenille. As I'm palmering it, I'm going like this. Push all of those fibers back, just so that way they're sitting the way that you want them to in the water. 2 hook eyes worth of space in the front there. Catch that in. Then you can go ahead, snip that out. Once you finish tying in your Polar Chenille, that's where you're going to want to do a whip finish, half hitch, whatever works. Cut that thread, grab your GSP. So the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take your deer hair, whatever color you want. I usually go, I don't know, I would say probably start with 2 pencils width, then I clean it out real good. This is super important. You want to make sure you get all that fuzzy under hair and stuff like that out of there. I usually go about halfway up my Polar Chenille. Get your measurement down and set. You do 1 loose wrap over the top, second one right over it. And while you're pinching it with these 2 fingers side to side, pull it down, give it a nice little flare. And then I'll go through, do 2 or 3 through the actual clump. Make sure it's nice and secure. I'm going to trim a lot of this out. Basically, all that you're doing with this deer hair here is creating a prop for the dubbing that you're about to tie in. Now you're going to take your dubbing of choice. Again, I'm using Bruiser Blend. I just like it. I think it looks good. I think I'll do a darker section for the, yeah. And then one over top. Then I'm going to do a lighter yellow for the underbelly. And nothing too crazy thick here. I'm just grabbing smaller clump. When you get to the head, that's when you'll do some bigger clumps. But, you know, do your thing, take your dubbing, pull it and stack it just to make sure all the hairs are nice and even. One clump on top, one clump on the bottom. Just take your dub, pull it back. Couple of nice wraps. Boom. There's your back section. For resin, I run UV Craft. I think this is thick. Boom. There's your back half. So now we're going to take our 1/0 B10S. So I get my thread base set down, and I take my beadline here. Beadline, fireline, intruder wire, whatever you want to use. Run that up to where it's just going into the bend of the hook here. Now I slip my 2 craft beads over the wire. Take my back half. Slip that over. Then you take your wire, run it back through the beads. So now you got this little loop here. So you can see that. I usually pull it to where the beads are tight, and then I give it about another bead width of a loop back here. After I do that, I run my wire back up, fold it back, and tie it over top of it again just to make sure it's good and secure in there. Now I tie my puller chenille in. I'm going to go about halfway up my hook shank. Halfway up, fold it back, make sure you're locked in, half hitch, back to GSP. I'm going to add my eyes in right here. So there I got my eyes in. From the eye to the eye of the hook, I've got probably 2 hook eyes in size. No, it's a tongue twister. I hope that makes sense to you guys. If you don't understand it, you can always message me, leave a comment, whatever you need to understand this a little better. Then we're going to go and grab another small clump of deer hair, about the same size as the one we did on the back. So for this one, I'll go to about my bead connection. Loose wrap, second wrap, pull it tight, run it through to make sure you're all secure here. Then I pull it all back. A couple wraps in front. Dub. Bottom dub. Boom. So there you got tail, mid body. Now we are on to the head. Back to the polar chenille. So I'll wrap this stuff all the way up as close into the back of the eyes as I can. And then when I tie back over it to fold all my fibers back, I'll actually take my thread to a little bit behind the eyes, so I got like a platform that I'm going to be able to add my legs and my deer hair onto. Now you're going to take your silly legs. I do 3. Depends on the size of the fly. Smaller ones I'll do 2. Fold them in half on your thread like that so you can put them where you want. 3 there. And I go over the eyes, under the hook, over the other eye. Nice secure way to put your legs in. Now you're going to grab another clump of deer hair. This is where you're going to actually use the hair to build a little bit of a profile on that head. It's also going to kind of help with the actual buoyancy of the fly, the way it swims. I'll show you guys. I'm starting with about that much hair. Looks like a lot, but once you clean it, it's a lot less. Here's your relatively cleaned out clump. And I usually run this one almost to the end of that dubbing, a little less. I don't know, I guess you could say half to 3/4 of that mid-body section. Loose, second wrap, cinch it down, and you go through. Alright, so now we've got this bunch of deer hair here. We're actually going to tie in our bottom dub first. Go through. I'll actually take that, fold all that back, and then I move my thread to the front of the eyes. Another clump for your bottom. And then you're going to take yourself a nice generous clump of whatever color you're using for the top of the head. Here's my top clump. Get all your dub pulled back. Get that thread started up in front of the dubbing, right around your hook eye. Take your brush, brown Sharpie for this one. This is a Thrasher, and now for the second part of this video, we're going to take it out. I'm going to show you guys how I fish it how you want. Don't take anything I say too serious because everybody's got their own ways of doing things. End goal, we're going to see if we can't catch a fish on this bad boy. Okay, we're at the creek. First day in like a week and a half that it's been above the 20s, so I'm super stoked for that. I'm going to run through my setup here. Got a St. Croix bank robber, 6 weight. You definitely want to beef your streamer rod because these things are heavy, especially when they're wet. For my line, I've got just a Sink Type 3 10-foot sink tip. I usually run, I don't know, probably 3.5, maybe 4 foot of tippet. So I got 0x tippet to a non-slip loop knot straight to the fly. Yeah, that's about it. It's a nice and simple setup. We're gonna get out there, we're gonna jerk strip this thing, and ideally we're gonna get absolutely crushed by a fish. So as you can see, when you jig strip this thing, it's got a really nice falling action, and those tails, even if you're just swimming it, kick like crazy. But that is the Thrasher magic, folks. Let's see if we can catch a big old brown on this bad boy today. This could end terribly.
but I think I want to fish underneath all this. Yeah. Nice. Still got it. Thought I lost it like immediately. That would have been heartbreaking. Got some real big slow water up ahead. Hopefully that's the ticket. Slow water, slow retrieve. Giant brown. Oh my God. I hooked a stick. I totally thought it was a fish. What a tease. I can't cast. There's so much ice in my guides. I wasn't recording for that whole thing.
Look at it's in his mouth.
Well, guys, I was not recording. I literally thought I pressed record and I didn't. Cast it up across. I was jig stripping really, really slow because I know it drops off really fast here. And right here along the edge of this log, I watched this fish come up, swipe at it. I just kept the fly right where it was. I didn't yank it out or anything. And literally before I could even make another jig, he came back for it and ate it again. I know I didn't get to eat on camera, but there is no denying that he ate that streamer. So we're gonna get this guy unhooked, safely released. Woo! Nothing like a streamer eating brown. All right, well, I'm sorry I didn't get to eat on camera, but hopefully we can get another one and get to eat filmed. If not, you can't deny it. That Thrasher got choked. Done deal. Tie and try success. That's why it's so important to strip set and know how to do a good strip set, or know when to not set the hook, which I know doesn't make sense in your head, but sometimes you gotta not set the hook because they didn't actually get it that first shot, and they will come back for it a second time. Of course, the one time I don't actually turn it on, get throttled, but either way, thank you guys for watching. Tied up a beautiful fly. Went out on a nice warm day that we finally got. Caught a sweet brown on it. So try out the Thrasher. Shout out to Eric Hurst. He's the one who came up with that pattern. I love it. It's one of my favorite flies to fish. Don't be afraid to fish it big. And yeah, comment and let me know what flies you want to see me do a tie and try on next. Whether it's a nymph, dry, another streamer, whatever you guys want. I'll tie it up. I'll go catch fish on it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.